This job, we try to save as many people as we can. Sometimes that doesn't mean everybody. But you don't give up.
Hey, welcome to Dollar Views. I'm Brian Gillis.
And I'm Stephen Maltmanex.
We're just a couple of Long Beach State film grads with a lifelong passion for cinema trying to put our money where our mouths are.
And we decided to make our BAs mean something by offering our spoiler-free take on the latest film releases.
Plus, any other media we've ingested over the past week.
Whether that's the latest buzzworthy show,
An album that's been on constant rotation,
that indie darling no one can shut up about,
a cute romantic comedy,
or the latest Michael Bay masterpiece.
we go over it all. $1 at a time.
We need to be put in check. Whatever form that takes, I'm game.
I'm sorry, Tony. If I see a situation pointed south, I can't ignore it. Sometimes I wish I could.
Sometimes I want to punch you in your perfect teeth.
I know we're not perfect. But the safest hands are still our own. I was wrong about you. The whole world was wrong about you.
So here we go, the second superhero team-up battle movie of the year, I guess. This one's obviously getting better reviews than the first one. This is not Batman vs. Superman, this is Cap versus Iron Man. And it's really good. How was your crowd? Was it full?
Of course it was full, dude. It's fucking Civil War. Like,
You did Thursday night, right?
Yeah. Is this slated to open bigger than Batman vs. Superman?
I don't know. I doubt it.
Because
people were saying that this is going to beat Avengers 2, which I think is a
Really?
possibility. Especially because this is kind of the third Avengers movie. So
yeah, it really that is my one gripe, or well, not really one gripe, but just one of the things that I think just kind of stands out. And it doesn't mean I dislike the movie, but it does feel more like an Avengers movie than a Captain America movie. And
Well,
that's not a
it's
bad
still-
thing, but
it's still centered on Captain America and his struggle within this Avengers problem,
Well, it's just-
which is, I think, okay.
if the Marvel Cinematic Universe was a TV show with a large ensemble cast, which it kind of
this,
is,
this would
then
not.
this is the
it wouldn't be a
episode-
Captain show.
This is the episode that centers around Captain America and Tony Stark. Like that.
Yeah,
That's
I
sort
see
of
that.
really where it is, along with a bunch of this other stuff.
I think the movie's so good though that no one's gonna complain about that.
Oh, yeah.
Or at least most of the movie. It does have some flaws, notably, in my opinion, the runtime. The first 30 minutes or so, I was kind of waiting, kind of like Batman vs. Superman for that matter. I was just waiting like, okay, I know what's going to happen, this Sokovia thing, the Civil War thing, they're going to get into the fight. When's that going to happen? When's that going to happen? I was kind of just waiting. There was almost no humor those first 30 minutes or so.
But
and
there
then
was
the ball
here, though.
kept rolling.
Like here, that's the key thing. There was humor. There was still little cool things like
Oh, there definitely was.
seeing-
Yeah, a lot of it.
Yeah, what Vision has been up to in the past year, just little things like that. I mean that all that stuff, which I don't want to say it was missing from Batman vs Superman, but that's a completely different movie.
Yeah, you can't really compare the two. It just so happens that with superheroes going up against one another, and the fact that there is relationships between the government against these vigilante justice and what that means on the whole. It's done a lot better here. It's not Batman going, "Oh, don't worry, the streets are empty in this side of town."
But also, this movie just gets a leg up on Batman vs Superman because, like, you care about these characters. It's been 8 years since the first Iron Man came out. Like
It's not even just the characters,
but we have
though.
had
It's the
so
fact.
long to invest in these characters that when they are all turning against each other, you really feel it.
Even the new ones like Ant-Man and Spider-Man and Black Panther, even the new additions. But the
Which-
fact that
oh.
the big struggles here, the plot pieces, the set pieces from the two Avengers movies and others are a much bigger precipice than, that one Superman movie that happened a couple of years ago and we didn't even know that was set in a universe. There's just, the stakes are a million miles higher. And it's a lot more rewarding. I just mentioned the new people. I know nothing about Black Panther other than I saw in this movie. but I really like him. I think he does get his due. People that are fans of him, I think they're really going to enjoy it. But in terms of people I do know, Spider-Man, oh my
The
God.
worst part of this movie.
You fucking wish.
No, no, no,
I
no, 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 no.
loved
I'm not saying
Tom Holland in this.
I'm not saying it's bad. I'm saying it's the worst part of this movie.
You know, the worst part of this movie is how fucking serious Daniel Bruhl is throughout the whole thing without any real reason.
All right,
Just like, hey, who's the bad guy from? Who's the bad guy from Inglourious Bastards? Let's get him. He looks evil.
Back to Spider-Man, though. I mean, yes, Tom Holland is good, but that is
so
the
good.
moment that really took me out of the movie, where it feels like
It needed it. It needed.
It's that moment that just it's the equivalent of Marvel doing catch up, which is kind of what DC was doing. Which it makes sense that they were doing it because they
I don't think
acquired
it's
the
that. I
rights
think-
during production of this, so it did kind of get added in and written into it late. But yeah, it really does feel like it is just kind of tacked on for the sake of an introduction. And sure, it is that, but it's
It's done really well, though.
no, it's there is joy behind it, but at the end of the day, it still feels weird. And the difference between when he's in an actual suit and when it's a CGI Spider-Man, I don't know, just really feels like a huge step down to me compared to what we got 2 years ago. Like, I can't judge it too harshly, and of course, it's not Spider-Man's movie, but yeah, it's just. At least Tom Holland's having fun with it already and is able to pull off the one-liners. So yeah, he makes the most out of the time. But I think just as far as like how he's utilized into this movie, if only they had more time to set him up into this world, it would have been a lot cooler.
I totally disagree. He has a very small role in this, and it's set up to really just confirm that. It's Tony Stark going, I need another person for my team because my team kind of fucking sucks. And so he goes, hey, I've heard about this new kid from Queens. Let's go grab him. And by the way, the fact that Tom Holland's actually using, a New Yorker accent, he's not plain Jane like Andrew Garfield or Tobey Maguire, or he's just America, USA. The fact that he sounds like he's from a borough, he has that smart alecky like moments that he is talking so much and they have to tell him like, shut the fuck up, we're trying to fight here. Like, he just embodied Spider-Man for me. They took all the good things about Garfield, they took all the good things about Maguire, and it's new on top of that. And in his role in this movie is very minor. It definitely is a backdoor pilot. It is a setup Sony's Spider-Man Homecoming, but I'm okay with that because it's not like they did it well. It's like you said, like it's coming from a good place. You just disagree with his usage, and I don't. I think it was really one of the highlights. If I were to see this again in theaters, which I doubt I will, I think that's something that I would want to watch again. Definitely on home video when this hits Netflix in a year and a half from now or whenever. I might just fast forward for the Spider-Man stuff because I really loved it. I really hope that John Francis Daly's script is outstanding. I hope they take advantage of what they have here. Because Marissa Tomei, too, she seems like a really fun Aunt May, which is really counter to, what we got with Rosemary Harris and also, what's her name?
Sally Field.
Yeah, Sally Field, Mrs. Forrest Gump's mom. I really like what they're doing there. I think it's a good breath of fresh air, a young superhero for this universe.
I mean, yeah, it's a good setup for that. It's just my problem is that in this movie, it feels like a distraction.
It is a little forced. Yeah.
Like, he literally just shows up and is like, hey, so I'm going to be involved in this. I mean, they literally just tell him to go home midway through the movie.
Different. It's a little bit different than that, but yeah, without ruining
it, no.
But
he's not there for that long.
That's okay though because it is his introduction. But like I said, this is a very long movie. This is only like 10 minutes shorter than Batman vs Superman. It's the longest Marvel movie that's ever been made, and they were kind of proud of that notion. And there's a lot of stuff that's going on. Just the Winter Soldier setup to really get the story rolling, and the opening mission alone. Like, there's enough going on. As I said, when you actually get to this Civil War, when you get to the fight, you've already kind of sat through an entire movie, and you got to really digest it, which is something that a lot of the kids in my audience didn't enjoy. I know you saw this Thursday Night Alamo Drafthouse. I saw Friday Matinee prime time for the kiddies. Lots of sick ones, lots of talking ones, a couple of crying ones. Just another reason when I was sitting there going, Sean Parker, you better fucking make this screening room thing, because I will give you my money. I will give you my $50 instead of my 10.
I think you just need to go to better places, man. I mean,
it's not better places. I went to the kind of theater that 90% of Americans are going to go to. They're not going to the art house, like small cinema in the cinephile town that you were going to, or these private screenings where critics go, or the Thursday nights. I went to standard multiplex experience with the girl next to me taking her phone out in the beginning, Snapchatting scenes. Like, what? That's piracy.
So happy that I am where I am to watch movies.
You should be happy, because I still got my money's worth. Like I said, I saw a matinee. If I paid primetime tickets, if I bought $16 and I got the 3D, I would have been really pissed off. I was like, whatever, these kids are coughing, I'll just cover my mouth and drink more water. It didn't ruin anything for me. But yeah, listening to some 3-year-old asking his dad questions at a level that's much louder than a whisper, kind of upsetting, and I blame Disney for this. And it's really funny, because I had this conversation on Reddit with this person who was upset about a recommendation I made about a video game that's rated T for teen, and he's like, yeah, no, kids. I'm like, oh, excuse me, like, that's not okay. You know how many 8 to 10-year-olds are going to be seeing this PG-13 movie with superheroes because there's no blood in it?
Okay, how are we getting to this? I'm sorry, you're blaming
I'm
Disney
just saying that I'm blaming Disney for the audience, yes. Because the cult of Disney and what their fans do, and the parents going, it's a Disney movie, it's okay, it's Marvel.
I just think it's the superhero movement in general. I mean, come on, when X-Men and Spider-Man were coming out, we were roughly 10 around that time? It
was not as big of a Spider-Man, yeah. By the time Spider-Man 2 rolled around, definitely.
Okay,
but
not
that first X-Men,
but X2,
maybe X2.
Yeah,
X2.
Definitely X2.
Like, at that time, we were still kind of, let's go see Harry Potter.
I mean, yeah,
let's go see
but those
something
things
else.
are
Like,
definitely,
we had other distractions.
They do market them to kids. They merchandise the crap out of that. There's there's kids' toys, there's Happy Meals and all that crap.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. It's a bigger thing now because of how ubiquitous the cell phone is, and the fact that they're using them in the screening, even if it's just to check the time. And it bugs me every time, but that's not against this movie. I'm sure most people out there aren't going to have the experience I had. And like I said, it wasn't the worst I've had. The Last Avengers was a much worse theater-going experience.
That's same here for me. But
yeah, I like seeing Frank Grillo in this, even though he was barely in it. Friend of the show. Shout out to him if you're listening.
Friend of the show.
Yeah, he definitely was.
In that moment, I actually thought, maybe that'll make Brian happy to see us burnt up like that. Yeah, for just that brief little. It's not really a spoiler, but it happens in like the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, I hope he comes back. He seems like a good enemy that didn't really get his due, even though he's pretty good in the Winter Soldier. But yeah, the cast is all great here. This is very much so an ensemble movie. It might not be billed that way, but just to see all of these people, excluding Thor and the Hulk, to see all of them on screen, everyone that we've got over the last couple of phases, and to see them work really well together, see the factions, see how they communicate with each other outside of just the tandems that we've already had incorporated, like seeing how Scott Lang, Ant-Man, works in amongst these, t-shirt superheroes when he's a nobody
and
still.
Just little things that have happened within time since we've last seen him.
Yeah. Like, I really wish Michael Pena had like a small role in this. Just like the smallest of roles.
Yeah, it's funny. The appearance of Ant-Man in this, it's really no different than how Spider-Man is utilized.
Mm-hmm. Except
the difference is he had a
launching
movie
point.
And we know him better.
Yeah.
Like that's really my only gripe with Spider-Man is like if Spider-Man had that, I'd be more on board with it. But I get why it's there, but it doesn't make the movie as good at the end of the day.
Spider-Man is such a known character. He's already had 2 franchises and video games and comic books and the cartoons, so many different cartoons that I don't have a problem with it. And the fact that, like I said, they've got him 100% right this time. I really hope. What's the director's name? John Watts. I really hope he doesn't fuck up with his one movie on his belt, Cop Car, which, especially now that I've seen, You know, it's not a bad movie. I'm just saying, now that I've actually seen the Spider-Man in action, it's even more dumbfounding how he's the one directing him.
Well, I don't know. It's still I see that, and it seems like just the feel of it. I can already get a sense of it, like from just that brief appearance of Spider-Man, because it feels like it's such a different movie. But then again, that is Joe and Anthony Russo at work. I'm sure. Like I don't know how
They could have done the thing where
how involved John Watts though was in just
he
assembling
could
those
have
scenes.
directed that sequence. It's possible. Like they've done that in the past. For instance, you know, that little like interrogation scene they get in this, which was the Ant-Man and the Winter Soldier post-credit sequence.
Well,
that was
just a
directed by
scene
the
from
Russo
the movie,
brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like that was directed by the Russo brothers. They did that. Joss Whedon directed a couple of post-credits things. Like they do that. It wouldn't be that big a surprise for me if, you know, in the months to come they announce like, oh, John Watts actually directed that Aunt May Peter Parker stuff. That would be really cool. It'd give me, you know, more like my expectations would be met. Yeah, like I said though, Black Panther's great in this, and I think that's really why people are going to see this. It's for the new additions, and also if they are a fan of the MCU, to see how it all comes together, because outside of the story, which is there is some really, really great conflicts here, especially in terms of the fighting. With that,
that's like the main driving force of the movie here. When you say the story, it is about the conflict. Yeah, and that is why it ends up working better than Batman versus Superman. I mean, you know, I called it like from the beginning, not because I saw the movie way before everyone else, but just because you think about what the conflict is, like it's way more interesting in Civil War and says a lot more about,
especially the way it pans out.
World, yeah, it like. I don't know, the way that it was in Batman versus Superman is just kind of like one person's paranoia or just fear of
also
just
because
this
that
God
just
being around, basically.
How unrelentingly dark that movie is.
Well, that's not so
with
much
no
the
sunshine.
No,
I'm just saying,
it's
like,
a pretty
it's
grim
hard
subject matter.
Outside of the subject matter, because the subject matter in this case isn't that too far different. It's just
and this
when
is
you
pretty
have
dark when it needs to be, and that's
when it needs
actually
to be
most
exactly.
of it, yeah.
Like the humor here doesn't kick in until like 40 minutes in. Like that's when you start getting the jokes. That's basically when Spider-Man shows up. Like a little bit after that. Like, but
and
you're,
even then, I'd
you're
say
very
there's
much
a hint
so
of sadness to almost every bit laugh. Like all the stuff from Tony Stark, all those quips. Not exactly like, I mean, yeah, I laughed at it, but there's always a tinge of sadness to it.
By the way, the anti-aging CG they have in this, it's getting so good.
That is scary.
It is getting scary
That was
because
scary.
like Tron Legacy, Jeff Bridges, he looked okay.
Well, he was
like
it worked there because it was supposed to be a copy, and so the
yeah,
fact that
like
that
it
is
wasn't
an
actually
artificial
him.
copy that actually worked to the movie's credit.
Plus, that was like the first time they really went for it, and I'm guessing the same people were on hand here because it is, also a Disney movie.
It's been 6 years too.
It's been a long time. Just I knew it wasn't him because it didn't. First off, there wasn't a gap in his front teeth, which was present when he was that young. If you've seen anything, such as Back to School or not Pretty in Pink, Weird Science, like he had a gap between his teeth, and I think it's just because of how well I'd known him from those years, like Lesson Zero, Chaplin, and to see him there. But even still, if I had never seen him in anything, before Iron Man 1, I would be fooled. It's crazy.
Man, I mean, I don't even... Was that a stand-in? Or was that, like, have you read up on that? Is that actually a digital effect?
They have an article. I think it's on THR right now. I haven't read it yet. I'm saving it until after I saw it.
How they did that scene.
But no, I'm pretty sure they did exactly what they did in Tron. They filmed Robert Downey Jr. and then they did the magic on his face to make it young RDJ. So cool though. Like not probably something that a lot of people are going to talk about, but it was just a little like geek out moment.
I don't know. It kind of creeped me out. Like, yeah, it scares me, but well, shit. I'm sure that cool things will be utilized with it.
We talked about the conflicts. There's a lot here. It's not just the Sokovia stuff. It's not just the Bucky Cap stuff. There's other stuff going on that you'll get when you watch it. But the main conflict, the real one, you get a hint of it if you've seen the trailer, Spider-Man's appearance. The runway sequence, in my opinion, the best action set piece a Marvel movie's had so far. I kind of said, I can't remember how far back it was now. It might have been the Ant-Man episode. It might have been the Avengers 2. But I was talking about, I can't wait for Infinity War where we have like 40 people on screen all at the same time doing something. That's kind of what this was.
Yeah.
Infinity War has to be this, like, the upper echelon, like, another level, like, exponentially higher. But it was just so kick-ass to go from these two fighting, cutting to these two, and then they're fighting together, all four of them, and all the stuff that's going on with all the powers and all of the stuff. Like, how the Russos were able to just map that sequence out and how it was going to work. Not just on the runway, but inside the terminals, on the plane, in, like, the whole thing. So fucking awesome.
I mean, it's definitely a fun sequence, except for the fact that am I really supposed to believe that they just magically clear off the whole entire airport just for the sake of that sequence?
Don't worry, the side of the city's empty.
I mean, yeah, no, it's like I don't like nitpicking about these things, but yeah, that was the thought that came to my mind. Is like, really, are we doing that? Okay, well, you know what?
I
don't care
I was totally
because they are having fun with it, but still,
didn't care.
It is very, very weird, though, to be laughing and, like, having fun with this stuff while also trying to take this seriously on any level because of this conflict and, like just any emotional stakes involved. Because, I mean, yeah, it does kind of hurt to see characters that you liked for 8 years, that you're invested in, just to see them go against each other like that, all justified in what they believe in. It's like it does bring up some sort of conflicting emotions just as a viewer if you're invested in this universe for that long. So it's a really weird balancing act.
I was more forgiving in this case than in Batman vs Superman because here, I
think that's a big part of why is because we've had it for longer.
Well, I don't even mean just in the conflict and relating to the characters, but more so in what you were saying about the runway being empty. It was because, like, there was action set piece, then it was the runway, and then there was one right after that, too. Like, it all really connected in a really organic way. It kind of made sense that the government would be like, hey, get the fuck out of their way. You know something bad's going to happen. You want more people to die? Whatever. Like, I kind of was in the moment.
Speed that they were able to clear everything out.
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that with what is going on in those moments of the film that it kind of made sense. Like, not 100%. I am with you. I was questioning a little bit. But once that fight really kicks off, I didn't want to question it. Like, part of me kind of just wants to see the director's cut where that sequence is like an extra 10 to 15 minutes longer. Isn't that going to be Infinity War Part 2? Isn't it just going to be an entire battle? It's going to be one big fight for like an hour and a half?
I mean, I appreciate that sequence, at least for how it's edited and how it cuts back and forth to what different characters are doing. I think Batman vs Superman, though, has this topped as far as action, honestly. I don't like this style. Like, I really don't. Like, just the Bourne style, like, just shaky cam and, like, speed ramping things. Like, it's something I can tolerate, yeah, but I'm just starting to feel lazy now, honestly.
No, I thought a lot of it felt lazy in the beginning when they have that opening, fight sequence, when they have some of the chases, even though the Black Widow stuff is really, really cool, watching her with her motorcycle and how she's walking down corridors and stuff. But yeah, the flips and shit and punching and throwing people.
I think it's more just like the accelerating of the frame rate, which just makes the shaky cam just seem, I don't know, like a
superhuman.
bit more irritating at that point.
Yeah,
it's kind of like the
did
stuff
think
that the raid does, and I'm just kind of like, no, there's no way. Like, especially if you see stuff in the background just moving fast, it feels like you're watching something on fast forward.
It is pretty weird. Like I said, I 100% agree with you that maybe we're just so used to it, like seeing so many of these Marvel movies and the action's always the same. Like, that's why it's refreshing on Daredevil, because it's different, because it's bloody, because it's darker, because he's going to go for throat punches and he's going to make people cough up blood, because it's realistic in that way. Whereas here, they're doing all this crazy shit and no one's even crying. Like, there's no yells, there's no fuck yous. Like, it is this really weird, we're doing really excessive violence and yet no one's really getting hurt type of mentality. It is a distorted version of reality, and even if it's the coolest kung fu master you've ever seen, it just it's kind of forgetful. I wasn't wowed all the way up until we get to the real fight, where it's powers versus powers, arrows versus guns versus rockets versus Spider-Man web slinging. That's what really pushes this movie. That's what you're waiting for. That's why everyone's seeing it. They want to see that fight. And if that's the reason, if you want to see it, whether if it's Spider-Man or Black Panther or just that fight, I think it's worth your money. I wouldn't exactly buy this for $1. Like I said, it goes on a little too long. I didn't care enough about some of the new characters. The villain is very forgetful. Other people online have said similar things in that way. But it was a lot of fun. Better than the second Avengers. Not quite as funny, but it was a blast, and it's a great summer movie.
Well, I guess, it sounds like I'm being negative on it, but it turns out I think I liked the movie more than you did. I liked Age of Ultron just about as much as this, and I still think that movie like really does kind of get shat on a bit unfairly too. I mean,
It's a stepping
I've
stone to this
appreciated that
movie in the grand
so
scheme
much
of things.
more though since I've seen it.
No, it's when you look at it in the grand scheme,
Mhm.
it definitely is building up to this, when it kind of should be the other way around. It doesn't make sense that an Avenger movie would lead to a Captain movie, but whatever. Marvel's doing Marvel. They can do what they want.
No, I think it works. I mean,
By the way,
it's
I
a
got to
bit more of
stop.
a fun movie, but
I've said it a couple of times in this review, just saying Captain instead of Captain America. I got to stop doing that because Captain Marvel's showing up soon, and that's going to be really confusing. Too many captains in one universe.
I don't know. We got what, 2 years or is it 3 now? I don't know. I think they delayed it.
Something. The Russo said that she's going to appear in Infinity War, so I guess a year and a half.
All right then. No,
Yeah.
no, so 2 years. 2 years
Oh,
from
is
now,
the first one
yeah.
2018? Yeah, 2 years.
2018, the first weekend of May.
And then 2020.
But yeah, no, I think yeah, like by default, this would qualify on the I'd buy that for $1 scale. Because I mean, yeah, no, I thought this was great entertainment. That's kind of how I look at the Marvel movies. I don't. It's not necessarily just. It's not like among the greatest superhero movies of all time, but just as far as putting out entertainment and not just making it fun, but making it creative and just making it like worth something. Especially here, just the conflict that's going on. That's what makes it, I think, worthwhile, is that I like how conflicted, everything it is here. It's not like there is an easy side of what side you should be on, even, and I know that they love to market it that way of, so are you team Iron Man or are you team Cap?
Yes.
Which is whatever. Hey, I guess it's fun for people.
I'm team Spider-Man. I told someone that at GameStop today. Like, that's my takeaway from this movie. It was just, I really want to see a Spider-Man movie. Like, this Spider-Man in particular, with the Avengers teaming up with him. Like, my money was solidified with his presence and how well it was done. If there was more of that, like I said,
God,
if he was put in a better way, in your own words, like
I wish I
was
like,
necessary.
Black Panther. I mean, that's the thing.
No, he
I
was
have not
great.
mentioned that yet, but yeah, the way he is utilized in the narrative,
Very,
like
very
not only
great.
is that a good introduction, but
It's important.
He has a purpose, and it's not like you're just introduced to him. You want to learn more about him as you go. Spider-Man. Okay, yeah, you know what he's like. Oh, hey, can this guy do the thing? Okay, so he's a little bit younger, but yeah, fine, it's fine, whatever, he can do it.
It's because we've been spoiled as consumers. That's Marvel's.
We've seen so many versions, but it's like,
It's
it does
their
look.
go-to character. He is their mascot. Like, he's the one that Stan Lee's really famous for. Like, the rest of them, sure, but we didn't know the names of them until Marvel started making these movies 8 years ago. It was, there's the X-Men, and then there's Spider-Man. Does Marvel make any other comic books? We don't know. We'll find out in the future. And so, like, they know that, and they had to make it to the best of their ability, and they surpassed my expectations. I definitely had some fanboy moments in the theater in those early days, like Peter Parker stuff. Like, if it was just him. It's funny, watching this, and, we've made the comparisons already between Batman versus Superman. When it started, it made me want to really, really want to rewatch the Batman vs. Superman, in particular the director's cut, which is coming out in like a month now. So I definitely do want to give that another take, especially when I saw, because Zack Snyder might not have made the best movie, but it stands apart from this a lot. Like, it is very separate, and given that a lot of the plot is similar, or it deals with similar kind of questions and ideas, it seems very distant. Like it does stand on its own two legs, and I think I'm more appreciative now, because if these did come out like a month apart and they weren't so different, they kind of could have blended together, really. And so I appreciate that now. Yeah, I can't quite buy this one for $1. Just, I don't know. I think it's kind of just the way it ends, because it's a Marvel movie and they know you're gonna watch the next one. That it's not lazy. It's smart filmmaking. It's just it doesn't quite feel like a whole movie to me, even though you get so much of it. It's like it ended kind of the way Age of Ultron did, and
No, I mean, yeah,
unless
that's
it's like
like I do like them about the same. I think Winter Soldier, that's probably the better Captain America movie. But
yeah.
if you want to ask for just where some of the best Captain America moments come from, there's definitely a bunch that are coming from this movie. So
yeah, there's a bunch in this movie. There's a bunch in that first movie. It's
Yeah.
just even in the first Avengers, there's just something about the serialized nature of what Marvel and Disney are doing that I'm not 100% a fan of, because the movies, and that is their goal. It's just the movies don't exactly work as one-offs. It's
that's-
not just a trilogy. It's not just a series. It's a phase.
Well, it's just the nature of serialized storytelling, is that the
Yeah.
more you connect something,
The less it is
the
on
more
its
it's
own,
going to
yeah.
get connected. Like the ties are just going to get closer and closer and closer. That it'll.
That's what I think that's what separates something like this from Ant-Man for me, because Ant-Man is a singular entity. It's its own movie. Yeah, it has ties to this universe. The characters might talk about other people, and people might make appearances.
Not only
but
that, there's also Guardians. I mean, those were
that too, yeah.
those are movies that just started. Mm-hmm. So I mean, and I'm pretty sure that Guardians 2 is probably going to find some way to connect to this universe. We're probably going to see that next year, I'm guessing.
We'll
Like
see.
I'm
they
pretty
have
sure
to.
that they're coming back to Earth.
Yeah, maybe, but I mean, they have to incorporate the Guardians into Infinity War, because that was a huge moneymaker, and if they don't, the fans will be really mad. That's the Avengers of Avengers. But yeah, let's move on. We talked about this one for long enough. I saw another Disney movie this week. I actually saw it 2 days before I saw Civil War. I finally caught Zootopia, and I'm kind of late to the party. It's probably going to cross $1 billion this weekend. But it's a really good film. I've said it before on the show. I really like what Disney Animation's done. They're really separate from Pixar, even though they're run by John Lasseter. I loved Wreck-It Ralph. Wasn't a big fan of Frozen, but Tangled was fun. I really like what they do, and this is no different.
Yeah, Big Hero 6 was alright.
Big Hero 6, even though it's kind of a Marvel movie. But yeah, I really like the message here. Great, overcoming adversity. You can be who you want as a female protagonist. It's a murder, well, not a murder mystery, but it's a mystery movie / buddy cop flick. There's some noir elements. Really fun. Like I like the idea. There's great puns throughout, visually, especially text. Like there'll be a shop, instead of it being what was it, like not Sports Authority, it was the other one. It was what's the shoe seller that's in malls?
Foot Locker.
Foot Locker, yeah. It was, instead of Foot Locker,
Yeah.
it was like, I can't remember. There's so many puns. They all kind of get lost together. Like they're using an iPhone instead of an apple. It's
I'm
a carrot because
sure
she's a
that there were
bunny.
So many. This
So-
is not the first movie to
No,
do that.
no, definitely not. But there were so many, and they were consistently so good that I was grinning a lot. Like I would audibly say the pun and laugh at it in my theater of 6 people, 5 actually.
There's screaming kids running around texting each
No,
other
no,
the
no.
whole
This
time.
this movie came out early March. No one's seen it anymore, but it's still making so much money. Like it's already it's gonna cross $1 billion probably this weekend. It's already made 933 million internationally. That's crazy.
Oh, I'm sure.
It deserves it though. It's really really fun. I'd buy it for $1 definitely. I probably actually will. I might actually buy this one. I'd like to see it again. The best part about it is I didn't know it going in. It has a really good voice cast. Jason Bateman voices the fox. Jennifer Goodwin is the rabbit. Judy Hopps. But Idris Elba is the police chief. So
Okay.
in 2 different movies this summer from Disney, Idris Elba gets to voice a main character. That's awesome. Plus, he's going to be in Star Trek. He's in Finding Dory, so that's 3 Disney voice roles all over the place.
He's appearing everywhere now, isn't he?
Yeah, it's so cool.
Man,
I
hope
mean,
we're not overexposed to Idris Elba.
No. I mean, that's the thing, though, because it's his voice, it's kind of not really overexposure because it's such a great voice. It's so deep and so menacing. And it's interesting in this role because he plays a police chief and he's that, brass cop, like, don't cross me, like, you're mine type of thing. But definitely a throwback. Very fun for someone like me who likes mysteries, and I hope that this kind of just reinforces my viewpoint that the murder mystery, the whodunit, the how, just people being curious about plot points instead of being spelled out is going to become a trend. I know there's a trailer for the girl on the train right now. I don't want to see it. I just want to go into that one naked or blind, rather, like I did for Gone Girl. Very excited about what Hollywood's doing right now. But what's really funny is I almost saw Sing Street again instead of Zootopia. It was playing across the street. I went with my friend Sean to see it. I met his girlfriend Kimmy, and they saw once, like I think the day before, because he likes Sing Street so much. And speaking of which, I know you saw that this week.
I did see
correct?
that. No,
What'd you
technically
think?
last week. I saw it over the weekend, right after we recorded. But
I made you see it that quick.
well, it was out and I had the time. And you got my
let
text,
me
right?
let me take a win on this one. Yeah, I got your text.
Yeah, no, I mean, God, I don't have it on me right now, but what was it? I just said something along the lines because I was trying to
You're
edit
like,
an
oh
episode.
my god, this one's good.
No, I was gonna like put it out, and I was just like, dude, I don't
Yeah,
care.
I'm gonna wait 2 hours.
Yeah, I don't care if I'm messing with the scheduling time or anything. I just want a break right now, and technically, I'm still doing my job here. So, I mean, yeah, I
Yeah.
totally needed that, and this is. Yeah, like there are 2 great feel good movies that I've seen this year. The other one's Eddie the Eagle. I mean, this movie,
So good.
it's just I wouldn't say look for any logic or anything. It's pure heart, and I mean, I don't
Just
think I would give
feel
it
good hit of
5
the
stars like you. Yeah, but
Whatever.
I think we both came out liking it, and I would definitely buy this for $1. But we definitely enjoyed it on different levels. So I think, yeah. I will say this though, I do have that song "Drive It Like You Stole It" on my
Stuck in
phone
your head,
now.
right? Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I mean, yeah, no, I've been listening to that just heading over to
better
work.
win. It better win that Oscar. It better win that
Well, that's
Golden
not-
Globe and the Grammy. I mean, it's still early in the year. Just
And it
I
probably
can't.
won't get it because it's early in the year, and something else is going to take it.
You like something like this with the accolades that John Carney's got, the fact that he did Once and Begin Again, and both of those were nominated for Best Original Song. It has to do with this time because it's so good. And when it comes to the music, they don't make many original songs anymore, and they usually suck. I just really hope that the kids get to perform this one live at the ceremony because that's the thing that they do now. I'm still really bitter about them not letting the Muppets perform 2 songs at the Oscars that one year because they went, we got our young presenters now, we don't have time for live music. And now ever since they have time for live music, we got that Lady Gaga number last year, which was powerful, but it wasn't the Muppets. But no, yeah, it's not a perfect movie,
No.
but it is my perfect movie.
Like there's no way you can walk out of that feeling unhappy.
There's no way you can watch it without a smile on your face.
Seriously.
Like if you're sick, if it's raining, if you just got dumped, watch this movie. It will turn your life around, at least for a day, at least for an hour. It's great. Matter of fact, Mark Duplass was tweeting about it yesterday. He said it's the best family movie of the year. Just so good. Like I really wish it got a lot more attention than it is because it's probably going to be out of theaters next week. It's going to get pushed out because it's the summer.
It's
and
actually expanding here. That's what's interesting about
Is
that.
it?
But yeah, I
Great.
don't know how much money it's going to make. It looks like it's doing more than everybody wants them, so there is that.
That's sad too. I mean, it's a better movie, but both really, really great summer
Or
flicks.
actually, wait, no, I could be horribly wrong about that, but
The expansion or the money?
just the money.
Yeah, I don't
But
know.
I don't-
I know
I don't know.
everybody
Then
wants
again,
some.
I don't know. Is this rated R as well, or is it PG-13?
No,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure. Wait, no, it's R.
I
I
think
think it's
be,
R.
yeah.
I could check my ticket if you want. I'm pretty sure it's R because of language.
Yeah, probably.
but even still, let me check just for sake of the podcast. If anyone's listening and they really want to see it, which should be everyone, you know. Is it R? I hope it's not. I don't know. I'm on the wrong page.
If I have to guess right now on the spot, just given
It's
what happens.
PG-13.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well then that's awesome.
See, my only guess was for language, but given the kind of film it is, and it's a high school movie, it does make sense that it'd be PG-13.
No, but then there's also other things that happen. I was thinking, is there
It's the
some sort of
secret of the
sexual
model.
scene that I have not, that I don't have in my head?
Look, if that bathroom,
I mean, yeah, no,
if that,
especially going back to that "Drive It Like You Stole It" song. I mean, it's not just the song; it's the way that it's used. Because I mean, I
Yeah.
know that this is,
that dance number,
yeah, no, and
that
it
prom
just
sequence, so great.
It's for me personally, it's about as good as that expectations versus reality sequence in 500 Days of Summer.
I think it's
Because
better.
this is basically what it is, except done differently.
Done it through musically
Done,
tinted
yeah,
windows.
just in the world of this movie and how
Well,
it's
just-
supposed to work.
I
And
mean,
it's so good. Like
my review
that
probably
sequence
makes more
alone,
sense
yes,
now, just
absolutely. By that,
all
for
it's all the music. It's the Secret of the Model and the way that they shoot that on
Mm-hmm.
VHS cam in the style of a cheapo guerrilla 80s music video, and then also like the acoustic stuff and the live stuff towards the end. All of the music in the movie, it takes like the best kind of musical moments from Begin Again and Once, and it just puts it with so much charm and heart that you can't not enjoy yourself. Like it's not depressing and lonesome like Once, and it's not like so serious and bittersweet like Begin Again.
I don't
Like,
know if
this
I'd say
is-
serious. I mean, this movie, it's a lot more like Begin Again because it really has that can-do spirit that Once just
Well,
doesn't have. Like, I feel like
Begin Again, however, though, you get all of that.
Well, but you had there was like a 8-year hiatus between Once and Begin Again where we really didn't get
No,
anything
was
from
it?
John
Was
Carney.
that long? I don't think it was
It
quite
was released
that long.
in Once was released in 2007, but I think it made the festival rounds a year before, so that's like 10
But wasn't
years
Begin
ago.
Again 2011?
2014.
Was
Yeah,
it really?
no, it was not that long ago. That was nominated.
Yeah, I know.
It lost
like
to the
2 or
Lego
3 years
Movie.
ago.
So, I mean, yeah, I saw it theatrically on 2014. So,
Well, the Lego Movie had a way better performance
Oh, yeah,
at the
no.
Oscars. With,
Come on, that
with
movie-
Will Arnett coming out, I'm Batman.
that movie
fa-
took the best Oscar song the moment it came out. Everybody knew that.
That movie,
Everyone
how'd
was
that
saying
get snubbed again?
what everything is awesome.
No, the Lego Movie. It didn't get a nomination for Best Animated Movie.
Oh yeah, but it got the song.
Yeah, well, who cares? I'm just saying, how
That's
did it
the-
get snubbed?
I don't ask me.
The Box Trolls was nominated over
Don't
it.
ask me. Don't.
That movie's so shit.
I know. Don't ask me though.
But we're talking about
we
music.
we can't justify the Academy. Okay.
No, we're talking about music. I listened to probably the biggest album this week, maybe this month. Who knows what else is coming out? I mean, Radiohead has a new one coming out in a couple of days, but whatever. I've listened to Drake's views a good amount. I'm a pretty big Drake fan. I have been since like 2009, 2010. A friend of the show, Luis, who's actually been on a couple episodes, he got me into his music back in high school/college. It's usually Views from the Six, now it's just Views. It's okay. I mean, if you have Apple Music and listen to it for free, I'm sure it'll be on Spotify and everything else within the next 30 days. It's kind of like two albums. There's a first half and a second half. The first half kind of sucks. It's basically shades of his old, like, mopey, kind of depressed, woe is me, you're not my girl anymore, but girl, guess what, I got so many girls, like you wish you were, type of thing. And then you get to the middle with Still Here, and it becomes a whole nother reality. It just, like, club songs and dance tunes and some dance hall stuff. Like Hotline Bling is a bonus track on the album. It has that kind of feel. Like you want to get on the dance floor, you want to move to it. Stuff like Controlla, like Still Here, like I already said. Also One Dance, which is a single. Grammys is pretty good. Child's Play, Pop Style is great. Too Good with Rihanna. Like that whole second half is really, really fun. I've listened to it a lot. It's been on repeat in my car, especially Controlla. Like one of the best songs I've heard this year. And then you have the first half, which I just kind of don't listen to. But it's not bad. I have been enjoying it. And so if you are a fan of his music or you want to hear some good dancey songs, definitely check out that second half. I'm sure if you listen to the radio, you probably haven't been able to avoid them. And this is kind of different from the show. We usually talk about movies, we talk about TV every so often. We never talk about video games, and so I will right now. I've been playing the Overwatch beta a lot. I got an advance code for the beta, so I started playing on Monday instead of Wednesday when it went public. Got a fair amount of experience. I was actually playing a little bit earlier. It's a lot of fun. I haven't played a game made by Blizzard since Diablo 2 back in middle school. They don't make IPs frequently. The last time they made one, I think, was like, I don't know, like 2000 or something like that. This is a big year for them. They have that Warcraft movie coming out in a month or so from Duncan Jones. But this is really fun. It's a great... It's not an FPS. It's more of a MOBA. It's a massively online battle arena. Lots of heroes to choose from. They all play differently. They all have their own personalities. They have these really cool, like Pixar-esque, like cartoons, commercials that I hope are part of the full release to really build out and flesh out what these characters are and their personalities, because you do get a sense of who they are. It's not like you're playing as them. It's like you're playing with them. Like I think it's going to be a really strong IP. I think it's going to sell a lot of money, especially memorabilia, pop figures, and t-shirts and stuff. I really hope it sells well, because Battleborn, kind of its competition this same month, has not sold at all, and they're very similar games, and the difference here is that one looks good and everyone else knew the other one wasn't. So if you haven't checked it out, I think you have until, what is it, Monday to play the beta. I really recommend it. I can't play it enough. I think I've got like 4 hours logged already, and it all means nothing because it's just a beta. So yeah, I'd buy that one for $1. Not sure if I'd buy the game yet. I'll see. Hopefully I get a free copy or something. Hopefully, if you're listening, Activision Blizzard, just send me a copy. I'll give you a real review. Have you seen any movies this week, Steve?
I did. Actually, yeah, I did see Dolemite.
Nice. I still haven't seen that. I need to. That and Superfly and all of those blaxploitation classics. Even though I've seen I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, which is the Ken Ivory Wayne spoof on them.
Well, I guess that answers my next question, which was, have you ever heard of this? But
no, I definitely heard of it.
Yeah, and there was just a Blu-ray restoration that was put out last month, I think, where they found the original negative and they were able to clean that up. Which for this movie,
is it a 2K or
it's in 2K, I think, and they cleaned it up as best as they could. So apparently, it looks really, really good given what this movie is. And yeah, a restoration, I guess, is something that this desperately needed, because I saw a 35mm print that, to quote the intro, it is beat to shit. And it really was. And of course,
cigarette burns and trash.
No, the color was basically maroon the whole time. Yeah, it was totally fucking beat to shit, to the point where they said, hey, this film might break up tonight. Like, we can't
might catch on fire.
Thankfully, it didn't. But I mean, yeah, this movie that print has been played so many times. So it's good to see that there's actually a good restoration of it out there. Because I think the DVD and there's other transfers that just don't look great, and it's hard to find a good copy. So they really work their ass off for just this crazy fucking movie.
It's like I there's so many of those movies, Blackula, and like I already said I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, but like, there's so many blaxploitation films that I haven't seen, even like Coffee, like the Pam Grier starring ones.
Oh man,
like there's so many.
Yeah,
I haven't
Foxy
seen the original
Brown last month too.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen the original Shaft. Like I just haven't for some reason. And the weirdest part is I love the Superfly soundtrack. Like a lot, like too much. Like when I went to Israel a couple years ago, that was one of the things that I was playing nonstop. I couldn't get enough of it. If you've never heard it, you really need to. It's so good. Like Curtis Mayfield just like knocks that one out of the park. Pusher Man, the second one, like it sounds like something that they would play during Superbad. It has that kind of vibe to it. Like the theme song, it seems like it's just ripped from that album.
Well, aside from the soundtrack, just Rudy Ray Moore in this movie, fucking amazing, dude. Like I mean, this movie is so ridiculous that this is something that you would have to see at the New Beverly if you get the chance to see it for the first time. Like, that's the type of screening you just have to go to because honestly, like, I don't want to use the term so bad it's good, but I mean, this movie is just so much fun and it's ridiculous, and I'm sure that there are clips on YouTube that just show like some of the best ridiculous moments, but this isn't a case where, you know, you see one of those clips and then that gets you to the actual movie and you see that you actually saw the best parts and then there's long stretches of boring stuff. Here it's like, no, not really. Every single moment is kind of consistently
ludicrous,
entertaining and surprising. And yeah, you know, it was kind of like Surf 2, which
like
also really just a fucking crazy movie. Although that print was not beat to shit because I guess nobody ever fucking watched that movie. But
like it's such an iconic movie that Bender from Futurama is made of Dolemite. He's like, there's like that episode where he like tries to sacrifice himself in molten lava or whatever, and he's like, "Don't worry, I'm made out of Dolemite."
You know what? That makes. Given that movie's logic, I mean, there is so many fucking amazing quotable lines. Like, I'm so bad, I kick my own ass every day.
Have you seen Black Dynamite?
Yeah, no, I mean, Black Dynamite makes fun of stuff. Okay, I tried.
It's one of those movies.
Like, you know, there's that joke with the boom mic in Black Dynamite. That happens here, where there's the mic dropping into the frame so many times, and it's pretty
and
funny.
They hit it out of the way.
Yeah. And yeah, I mean, just the performances, like it's. This is the original Black Dynamite, and it's kind of amazing. Like, you owe it to yourself to see this at some point. If you want to enjoy it in a so bad it's good way, that's fine. But
no, I'm pretty sure I would enjoy it in a this is so kick ass it's amazing kind of way.
Yeah, no, I mean, just right away it's like, okay, this is the type of movie you're making. I'm fucking going with it, man. Like,
I have to
I would
add,
buy this for $1.
I don't know, I haven't done before. I have to add all of these films, all these classics to my list of shame. Because like when I think of the list of shame for this show, or not this show, but for Death Cinema, it's always like the critically acclaimed masterpieces that I've never gotten around to quite yet, the Criterion collections and whatnot. And it should be culturally significant things of American cinema that are just part of the lexicon that I kind of forget that I haven't seen just because of references and other material. Like I said, Black Dynamite, I'm Gonna Get You Sucker, and Futurama, and you know, Black Dynamite has a fucking cartoon on Adult Swim. Like, it's that kind of iconic now.
Well, yeah, no, I mean,
and
honestly,
the joke
for Death
is
Cinema, like I just see it as like it doesn't have to be like what's considered high art. It's just what is worth being exposed to.
No, obviously.
Yeah, I mean that includes the holiday special to me. Honestly,
I made you watch Bad Santa.
Yeah,
and Kingpin.
Yeah, no, and I mean, it's like, hey, I'm not singing praises. Okay, yes, and like I thought you were gonna bring that up first, but yeah, it's like, you know, I'm glad I saw Kingpin and I had a good discussion about it. Like, I don't think, you know, even I think Bay of Blood, even though we both kind of just saw that and kind of went, there was an interesting discussion there. I think of just trying to find any validity in just its place in cinema history or just in horror in general. I think it sparked an interesting conversation there.
I found pretty quickly with that episode, I was like, Giallo might not be my genre. I'm gonna skip on this one.
It's not mine either, but I think I don't know. I think with that, at least I was trying to understand the appeal, and that's usually the case. Is if something doesn't work for me, I got to figure out why it works for somebody else.
For so many people. The reason I brought Bad Santa up first is because for the first time in forever, really, I did movie hopping on cable yesterday, in fact. I was with my stepdad, and what was I doing? I was in the bathroom, and from a distance I heard a like Depeche Mode song or something. I didn't know what it was. I was like, are you watching Real Genius? And it turned out he was watching Pretty in Pink, so I watched like 15 minutes, but then he was flipping channels again, and in the corner of my ear I heard And You Okay by Alien Ant Farm. I was like, this has to be American Pie 2. So we watched like the final hour of that, which was amazing. It still holds up so well. Makes me really heartbroken. Like it turned on while Jim was on the roof with the super glue on his dick and the tape in his hand. The perfect time, the best, like, because you don't miss much before that. You have like the lesbian scene and you have the band camp scene. Like, that's really all that happens before that, and like phone sex and shit. So I got most of it, and then I watched the first half of Bad Santa as well. So it was a little fun early 2000s comedy mashup. Definitely, just fun day. It was rainy day. I didn't have work. Just perfect kind of remembering the beauty of cable TV, remembering what Netflix can't give you. Like, there is a certain satisfaction to having someone program the stuff for you, and just the serendipity of landing on it when you do and going, yeah, I could watch a couple of minutes of this, why not? Instead of, what do I want to do next?
Yeah.
Like, it's kind of the difference between Pandora and Spotify,
Like that
having
did happen. Like with me last month, was I was just flipping through channels, and I think it was on Country Music Channel, something I never ever fucking watch.
Yeah.
But Gridiron Gang was on, and
cool movie.
I was just like, you know what? I have not seen this like in 10 years. Like, I may as well watch part of it, and yeah, it's still a pretty good movie.
I'm The Rock, and you're a dummy, and I'm gonna teach you how to play football so you get your life together.
He gives like
okay,
the
coach.
most incredible motivational speech ever in the locker room, set to no music, and you can tell it's supposed to pump you up, and he's like yelling just to get you pumped. But
Coach Carter came out like the exact same time, and it was the same kind of movie.
Yeah.
Same kind of movie. Like, it was like, you're the badasses in high school that are too stupid to be good at sports. Well, I'm going to make you good, and you're going to be the best, and you're going to be the underdogs, and you're going to win the final game of the movie. It's like, yeah, we've all seen Hoosiers. Thank you very much. Like, oh, man. Can you imagine once upon a time that Hoosiers broke the mold? That was like the first underdog sports movie.
Yeah, we talked about that.
And now they're all the underdog sports movie. Like, whatever happened to the good team? The closest you can get is Friday Night Lights. The fact that they're the good team and they still lose. Spoiler. It's a true story that spawned a TV show, which is spawning a movie based on the TV show. I'm sure you're aware of it. Peter Berg, hopes you are anyway. Check that movie out. It's amazing. Billy Bob, you gotta love the Billy Bob.
Oh, yeah, no, it's one of Peter Berg's best movies for sure.
Oh yeah, definitely. Way better than Hitchcock. Much better than Battleship. About just a smidgen below Lone Survivor. Just a smidgen. Nah, better, because the music. Because Explosions in the Sky are such a kick-ass band that it really takes that score to another level. So good.
I'm a fan of Hancock, so yeah.
That's the show.
All right.
Okay. Thanks for listening. We hope it's been a pleasure. If you like this show and you want to hear more of our wonderful voices on a weekly basis, check out 2 Cents. I'll recap what's happened in film, TV, and tech news.
We're also on Debt to Cinema, where one or both of us crosses a title off our list of shame.
You can find all of our content at dollarreviews.net. Follow us on Twitter or like us on Facebook at Dollar Reviews.
We're available on iTunes, YouTube, TuneIn, Stitcher, and constantly looking to expand to other platforms.
If you listen somewhere we're currently not available, you'd like to contribute some talking points, send a Debt to Cinema request, or if you just want to laugh at us, you can do so by reaching out to us on social media or send an email to brian@dollarreviews.net.
Or you can email me as well, steve@dollarreviews.net.
You can follow me personally on Twitter at Brian Gillis, that's BryonGillis, and now you know how to spell the email too. And also under the same name on the lovely site Letterboxd, which acts as my film diary, where I rate films I'm watching, write the occasional review, and even sometimes compile lists.
You can also find me on Twitter at S_MTX, and also follow my film diary at Letterboxd under the same name, where I log everything I watch, and sometimes write brief reviews.
That's it for this week. Until next time, keep the change.